Across America, people have celebrated Juneteenth, or Freedom Day, every year since June 19, 1865. Kelly Elaine Navies is a museum specialist and oral historian at the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington.
On June 19, 1865, General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, with a force of 1,800 Union troops, many of whom were actually United States colored troops, and announced General Order 3, stating that the enslaved were now free. This was important because although the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed on January 1st, 1863, that really only impacted states in the Confederacy and then only states where there was a Union presence.
Navies says that when she was a child, her father, who was an educator, made it a tradition to celebrate Juneteenth.
He would invite not just his students at Berkeley High School, but he would also invite his friends and family and members of the community, barbecuing all hours of the night. From a young age, my job was to chop onions and potatoes. And we would have a program that was intergenerational. Children would perform and read poetry, create dances, an open mic. Elders would speak and share stories of their experiences with being Black in America.
Juneteenth has been a state holiday in nearly all 50 states and the District of Columbia. Last year, in the wake of millions demonstrating against racial injustice after the killings of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others, a bipartisan group tried to get Congress to recognize Juneteenth as a federal holiday. On Thursday, after more than 150 years, Juneteenth was established as the newest federal holiday at a White House ceremony after a bill passed earlier this week by Congress.
It's a celebration of the emancipation of African Americans who were enslaved, but it's also a day of remembrance. So I'm eager to see not only the Juneteenth holiday be recognized by the federal government, but I'm eager to see how it is recognized, how it is celebrated, how it is used as a tool of education for people, and how it can ultimately bring us more in line with what the hope of emancipation was, which is freedom for everybody. I think it can be a positive development for good for all of us.
But Justin Hansford, law professor at Howard University, also noted the dichotomy between what happened in Washington on Tuesday and current events in the state of Texas.
On the same day that Juneteenth was passed in the Senate, the state of Texas, where Juneteenth originates from, passed a law banning the teaching of the 1619 Project, banning critical race theory, banning the opportunity to teach about Black history. So it's almost like a joke where you pass a proclamation recognizing an important moment in Black history, and at the same time, on the same day, the state where that particular incident took place is passing a law banning the teaching of Black history.
HB 3979 is sponsored by Texas State Representative Steve Toth, who said in an interview with the National Review, "The facts are very clear, very explicit. We don't ban, we don't discourage the discussion of anything." But Hansford says it's important to understand there is a connection between Juneteenth and the banning of certain teachings.
Don't forget that the Juneteenth story is a story about Black people who were free, but the knowledge of their freedom, the awareness of their freedom was denied to them. And here at the same time, we see that same denial of access to information and the denial of access to knowledge being written into law in the state of Texas, the state of Florida, and other states that are passing these anti-critical race theory laws.
Critical race theory, according to Hansford, is a field of study that seeks to uncover the way that race played a central role in how American society is structured. While debated by academics since the 1970s, it has only recently become a political issue.
This is a deliberate plan to politicize and whitewash history.
Thank you, Mr. Fraser.
Stop it.
Last week, Florida's Board of Education banned the theory from its public schools.
I think it'll cause people to think of themselves more as a member of a particular race or based on skin color rather than based on the content of their character.
And in Leesburg, Virginia last weekend, a rally against critical race theory teachings. Activist Patty Manders opposes anti-racism teaching that she believes trains white children to see themselves as oppressors. But while school curriculum is a lightning rod for controversy, a Juneteenth federal holiday has become law.
The bill is passed.
Mariama Diallo, VOA News, Washington.